Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world and how's things where you are? I would love to hear from you. In the comments, please let me know. Please, let me know. Seriously. How are things where you are? I want to know that. So many of you know me from my work in the board game industry. But for those of you who don't know, I have been kind of a drifter in the board game industry since the late 90s or mid to late 90s. I started off working for United States Playing Cards on the X-Files card game, Scooby-Doo, zombies, that sort of stuff, and traveled all over for them doing cons, and that's kind of where I got my start. And then I joined the military and kind of got out of that for a while, then got back into that, helped with Journeyman Press a little bit back when they, when Journeyman Press was its own separate entity from United States Playing Cards. And then when that collapsed, I helped a little bit, not very much, but a little bit with Twilight Creations, who bought the Zombies license and did some stuff. And then I kind of just drifted, and I played a lot of card games, and I worked on my own stuff. I was working on my own designs at that time. And then for the last 6 years, since 2014, I've been working with Portal Games. For a long time, I had a semi-official position. I don't anymore, but I had a semi-official position with Portal Games as the U.S. representative, and I traveled the United States, going to all kinds of shows that you've probably never heard of because they were distributor shows or retailer shows, and they're basically not open to the public. And I helped kind of market. I helped do stuff on social media. I helped with website stuff. Wrote rule books. Helped with some design. Nothing major. I've designed a couple of promos and stuff like that. But overall, I've just been kind of a general laborer for Portal Games for the past 6 years. And the news has come out this week that Origins is canceled and going to be rescheduled for October, and people are talking about if we're still going to bother to do Gen Con, or if what's going to happen for the rest of the season. So there's a lot of chatter right now and all social media from people who don't seem to understand what's happening in gaming right now. And I think I want to kind of address a few of the things that people might not be considering when it comes to doing something like an Origins fair. Generally, those things are contracted and scheduled 10 years in advance. I don't know what Gamma's contract is with Columbus, but I'm sure it's probably a 10-year contract. And that means that they are obligated to have a show. Like, that's it. They have to do it. The thing is, they can't do it at the beginning of June. Everybody is still essentially going to be on lockdown, from what we understand. I know here in West Virginia, we are planning to go back to school at the beginning of April, but I heard yesterday that Pennsylvania schools are shut down for the rest of the school year, and I will probably follow suit. So there's just no possible way that this convention is going to happen in June. There'll be nobody there. It'll just be vacant. But October means that there's a chance, right? The thing is that the large publishers, and I'm going to even put Portal Games in there because Portal Games has enough momentum to make it through this. For the larger publishers, there's going to be games. But for the little guy, for the Kickstarter booths, for the self-publishers, for the mid-size publishers, the thing is, there's no games. Like, they couldn't have a show if they wanted to because there's no product. You got to remember that something like, I'm going to just rough guess that probably 90% of board games are printed in China. And China was shut down for months. And it's going to take a very long time for that to recover. Board game printers are already operating at such a small margin. They are 24/7. So these board game printers are running at max capacity already. It's not like they can just spin up some more printers and print some stuff. They are also on contracts with developers, with publishers, and that stuff extends out years. And there's no games. Like, you can't get them printed, you can't get them shipped. What do you do? So having Origins shifting to October means that there's at least a chance the show could happen. It will happen. There will be some people there. Will there be 20,000 people there? No. Will there be 5,000? Maybe. They might be able to pull that off. It's pretty darn close to Essen, which means that publishers are really going to have to do some crunching to try to figure that whole mess out. So I don't think you're going to see a lot of publishers there. You're going to see a lot of people just eating this cost because either A, they just can't commit to an October timeline, or B, they have no product to display or to sell. And what do? You know? It's kind of a nightmare, truthfully, for the board game industry. It's kind of a nightmare for the world, obviously, but in particular, you know, there's not a lot of domestic manufacturing going on. The prices for domestic manufacturing in the United States are so dramatically higher than China. There's very few people getting board games printed here. Portal has Polish publishers, and so, or Polish printers available, and a lot of our launch products are printed in Poland, and then once the launch shipment is done, then it gets transitioned to a Chinese manufacturer. So Portal can and probably will have summer product, but I don't know about everybody else. I don't know how this is going to shake out. I'm interested in the fact that people are talking so kind of negatively about the Origins move, when the world is kind of in a place right now where the next year is uncertain for everybody. Like, I don't know how anybody can consider affording going to Origins right now if, you know, unless they're like, you know, those lucky few like I am that has continued to work through this. I don't know. What do you feel about having summer conventions? Do you think it's going to be doable? Do you think it's going to be missed? Do you think that we should just cancel everything for the rest of the year? Or should we at least try to kind of pick it up and move on? I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I will see you Monday. The word today is animadversion. It's a noun meaning very harsh criticism that suggests disapproval of what is being criticized. My boss's frequent animadversions have led to high staff turnover. Animadversion. ANIMADVERSION.